what's your highlight reel of the day, or of the last few weeks, or the last few months, or of however long? Because when it comes to like seeing anybody who's getting some shit done, be it like social media character, bodybuilder guys, fitness dudes, just anything, right? Car show kind of guys who love working on whatever. The ratio of cool shit that's like interesting and just fun to show off and like make videos about, or just like just be able to look at, that is about, I'd say maybe 2% seems a little low. Definitely less than 10% of the amount of like prep and just other related work that goes on that is not so fun and interesting. You know what I'm saying, right? For every insane set of squats, there is, sitting around in front of a bowl of chicken and rice, or, just doing 30 minutes of cardio. So, of course, I'm going to do it, right? And, it's there's a certain kind of just understanding that it doesn't have to be the flashiest thing in the world, because it's just necessary, right? We're all looking at, let me think here. I mean, it's cool to be the architect. Like, oh, I designed this building. I designed the Empire State Building. Look at this mock-up. Oh, it's incredible. I did that. Not so glamorous to be the dude laying rebar and pouring concrete, right? Because it's slower. It's not as interesting. It's just, I don't want to say grunt work, because obviously there's a lot of prep involved, but it's just necessary small steps that scale towards something greater. You know what I'm saying? So if we're only watching, like if you're like me when I was looking up to all the Callum von Moger videos, or like who else was I watching? Honestly, I wasn't really a die-hard bodybuilding fan until I really got into it. But I mean, I was watching a lot of like Rich Piana sort of stuff. But insert whoever you were looking up to when they're showing their coolest stuff, and just deadlift compilations, and just like crazy poses when they're extra lean. I mean, that's not them 24/7, right? I mean, don't forget, every time some dude finishes a crazy ass workout or bodybuilding show or just anything, the guy's gonna go home, chill, playing his phone just like you are. And so it's what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't have to be this 24-hour like always on, just cool shit, fun all the time, extra, like in this in kind of in relation to the cooler part of like coming in, hitting a serious pose, just looking nuts, maybe going into competitions, anything else like that, PRs. There's just what you might call chores that just go along with it, that even though they're not as cool, they're still necessary, right? So I guess I'm trying to put more emphasis on the things that aren't really so just interesting and cool, and because they kind of they're just necessary for the sake of making a certain level of progress in whatever other kind of thing you're doing, right? So that's my sort of thing. Even if I'm just doing 30 minutes in the scheme of my whole working out, one day of cardio will change nothing, right? If I went back over the course of everything and I skipped one day of cardio, or one lift, or even like 1 week of cardio, it's not going to change anything, right? But it's the fact that there's been so many in a row that now it's kind of just scaled up to where it is, right? So don't get discouraged, and just don't prioritize the cool shit. Everybody's always oh man, I want to start posting, I want to start making whatever, I want to start hitting PRs. How many working strength building sets does it take to reach a 315 bench? How many workouts, how many years does it take to get to a 4-plate squat for like 5 or 6 reps? That's not the fun part, right? But if you can at least get yourself to a point where you're not being like turned off or just discouraged by the fact that it's a lot before you get to the cool stuff, then you're good. My thing is, I've always been like, I've almost got, I don't want to say imposter, no, that's not the right word I'm thinking of like, I feel a little bit hypocritical when I say that sometimes, because for me, like the workouts just coming in, like that's the fun part, so everything else that happens afterward, it's it's just, I don't want to say a byproduct, but it's just a nature of course. So if you know somebody who loves working out, guess what? The guy's probably going to look like it, at least after a certain period of gaining experience and making real ass freaking gains. you know. So my whole thing, and this is like half just how it is, but it's definitely how I like that it is because, you know, the grind aspect of working out, where we're talking like, you know, legs, failure, sweating, cardio, diet, food, everything, like, that's the fun part, you know. So then the results are even more fun because they're like like, it just kind of happens, you know. You're going on a freaking stroll and you happen to find $20 on the sidewalk, right? That might not be the best kind of way to put it, but that's I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. But either way, let's get in there, finish 30 minutes of cardio, and see how I'm looking nearly 4 months into this off season. Luckily, well, I guess not luckily, it was kind of planned, not too soft. I'm trying to stay relatively lean so that I can get extra damn peeled come this spring. I'm talking leaner than I've ever been. But I'll see you in a few minutes.